Hey guys, it is time for another spooky story. I am Autumn in Appalachia. If you have a spooky story of your own that you would like to share, please feel free to comment or send me a DM. Make sure as well to add me on Facebook, same handle, Autumn in Appalachia. Without further ado. Now, this follower did not want to be tagged in her story, but she is going to be watching the comment section and she will answer questions that people have. She said, now I want you guys to make sure to use your discretion and be sensitive in the comments. I know you guys are great and full of so much love, but this is just a more of a sensitive subject matter and it does have to do with the passing of a family member, so we're just going to keep that in mind. If you have ever lost a loved one, if you wonder if your loved one sees you from the other side, if they watch over you, this story is for you. I'm choosing actually to share it on a very sensitive night for myself. It is my little girl's 3rd birthday in heaven, and I miss her terribly, but stories like this, it is heartbreaking. It's miraculous, it's heartwarming, it is bone-chilling, it's so many things, and it really resonated with me, and I feel that it will with some of you guys. Let's jump into it. Let's just call this follower Miranda for the story. It was the Friday before Mother's Day in 1997. Miranda is at work, and she said that she suddenly was hit with the most gnawing sense of dread and fear about her dad. Now, it was so intense that even her bosses noticed, and they asked her what was wrong. When she explained that she had this horrible gut feeling and fear about her father, they offered for her to leave work to go check on her father. Now, he lived in Georgia. She lives in Tennessee. That's like a 2.5, 3-hour drive, and she said that day there were some horrible storms in between their states, and where she was at, she said that it was so bad outside she couldn't even see her car 30 feet from her office window. She also had to take into account that if she were to leave to go check on her dad, she has to pick up her 2 young children, 9 months and 3 years, and she would have to take them with her because she didn't have a sitter, and she just did not want to risk her children's safety in that storm. So she decides, despite this really intense feeling, to stick it out. Now, she did say that she and some of the women in her family have always had like a special kind of spiritual discernment and intuition, but this feeling this day was unlike anything she had ever felt before. She decided to instead opt to try to call her dad several times. Her bosses even let her use the long distance dialing code that they had, and she calls and does not get a hold of him. This intense sense of anxiety remains with her for the rest of her work shift. She said that it wasn't even just a feeling, that she knew with a certainty that defies logic. Around 8:45, 9 p.m., suddenly, in the snap of a finger, this feeling leaves her, and she believes in her mind that whatever it was must have passed and that her dad was okay. So the next day, when Miranda, her husband at the time, and her children get home, the phone is ringing off the hook. They answer the phone, and to Miranda's horror, she gets the news that her dad had passed away and that they estimated he had been gone for at least 12 hours. Now, if you do the math on that, the time the night before that Miranda's anxiety feeling suddenly left her would have been around the same time that her dad had passed. Miranda absolutely fell apart at the seams when she got this horrible news. The in-laws come to get her children, and she and her now ex-husband make their way down to Georgia to Miranda's aunt's house. When Miranda gets down there, she has to go meet the sheriff's deputy on her dad's property so they could walk her through what they found at the scene. When she gets to her dad's house, the deputy explains as she is standing in her dad's living room that they found him face down in the floor, his hand still clutching the phone. They said that it looked like he had been reaching for the phone because the phone was ringing, and that he fell off the couch when he did so, and that is when he expired. But they further explained that it wasn't as simple as that. It looked like there had been some sort of a struggle, and because of this, they had to mark the house off as an active crime scene and do an autopsy on her dad. As As Miranda is standing there hearing this devastating news, she looks down on the coffee table right by the sofa where her dad was found, and she sees the Bible that she had picked out for her dad for his birthday when she was 7 years old. It was something he had held close to him ever since then, and she reaches down to pick it up because she wanted to take it with her. That's the last little piece that she has of her dad, and as she reaches for that Bible, the deputy stops her and says, "Ma'am, I'm sorry, you can't take it. This is still an active crime scene," so she left it there. The next morning, Miranda gets a call from her aunt, and her aunt explains that her dad's house had burned down overnight. Everything was a total loss. Nothing was salvageable. She said that this absolutely devastated her, and that all she could think about was how that Bible was now something she would never get back. That was all that she wanted to remember him by, and it's gone. The weekend following her dad's funeral, she is missing him. She's crying. She's thinking about that Bible, and she eventually cries herself into a sleep. And as she is asleep, she begins having this dream about her dad. She said that in this dream, her dad pulls up to her mom's house, and he gets out and he's beaming, and he hugs her and he tells her he loves her. And then he begins pulling these boxes out of thin air, and she's confused by this. She said, "Dad, what are you doing?" And he said, "All of your hurt, your trauma, all this suffering, I'm packing it into these boxes, and I'm taking it with me where I'm going." Sorry, this chokes me up. It's just so powerful. And he said, "But I'm leaving a gift for you behind." Miranda wakes up and she realizes that it was just a dream. Or was it? Later that day, she gets a call from her Aunt Dee Dee, and her aunt sounds like she is in shock. Now, before I explain to you what her aunt said, you need some context. Miranda's grandmother had Alzheimer's and could not live on her own anymore. Her house had been locked up for months, and she was living with Aunt Dee Dee. So Aunt Dee Dee calls and she says, "I just went over to your grandmother's house. I unlocked the door and went into her bedroom because I had to get some things. When I walked into the bedroom, laying on the bed was your dad's Bible." The Bible smelled like wood smoke, but there were no burn marks on it. Now, she had already been told that the Bible was lost in the fire, that there was nothing salvageable. Her dad's house had been locked by that sheriff's deputy when they left that day after she went in and they explained everything that they found when they found her father. Her grandmother's house had also been locked up for weeks. Nobody had a key but her Aunt Dee Dee. Miranda believes with her entire heart and being that her dad's spirit moved that Bible over 70 miles and meticulously and lovingly put it in that spot on her grandma's bed for her to find. That's the story. And like I said, it is miraculous, and it is powerful, and it is heart-wrenching. And if you have ever suffered a loss of a loved one and you wonder if they see you or if they're still with you, maybe they are. Maybe they are. Spooky stories, Miranda said, are not always bad ones. If you have a spooky story of your own that you would like to share, please feel free to comment or send me a DM. Make sure as well to add me on Facebook. Same handle, Autumn in Appalachia. Sorry for the bucket of emotion. How can you not get a little emotional sharing a story like this? And a quick shout out to my baby girl Willow in heaven. Happy birthday.